Prince Rashid storms through the palace corridor, his phone trembling in his grip. "What do you mean she's gone?" His voice echoes off ancient walls while servants scatter like startled birds. Security footage flickers on his screen, his wife, Yasmin, stepping into a black car at dawn, her wedding ring glinting one last time before the door slammed shut. Gone. Vanished. And in 6 hours, he's supposed to announce his engagement to Princess Zara of Kuwait before 1,000 cameras. The lie he built to protect his throne is about to bury him alive. 3 months earlier, Rashid wasn't supposed to fall in love. He was negotiating oil contracts in London, armor-plated in custom suits and calculated charm, when Yasmin walked into the conference room with coffee-stained notes and fire in her eyes. She was the translator, brilliant, stubborn, refusing to soften her words when Rashid tried to manipulate the deal. "Say what you mean, Your Highness, or I'll translate exactly what you're hiding," she'd said, and something in his chest cracked open. By the 3rd meeting, he was inventing reasons to need translation. By the 10th, he was in love. "This is madness," Yasmin whispered as Rashid pulled her into a hidden garden behind his hotel, jasmine blooming wild in the moonlight. His hands cupped her face like she was something sacred. "Then let me be mad," he breathed before kissing her, desperate and reckless, tasting her gasp of surprise. She pulled back, her eyes searching his. "You're a prince. I'm nobody." "Your family would never, I don't care what they'd never do," he interrupted, thumb tracing her jaw. "Marry me. Tonight. Tomorrow. I don't care when, but marry me." Her laugh was half-sob, disbelieving and hopeful all at once. "You're insane." "Completely," he agreed, grinning. "Is that a yes?" They married in a tiny chapel in Scotland, rain drumming on stained glass, while a confused priest pronounced them husband and wife. Yasmin wore a cream dress bought that morning. Rashid still had his cufflinks from the summit, and neither of them stopped smiling. "I should tell someone," Rashid murmured against her hair as they swayed to music only they could hear. "My brother, at least not yet," Yasmin whispered, fingers curling into his shirt. "Let this be ours for just a little while." So he kept the secret, tucked away like a grenade with the pin half pulled, telling himself he'd find the right moment to detonate his entire world. The right moment never came. Rashid's father, King Faisal, summoned him home with a single message: "Your brother is dead. You are crown prince now. Return immediately." The heart attack had been sudden, brutal, stealing away the son who was supposed to rule. Now the throne screamed Rashid's name like an accusation. "I have to go," he told Yasmin, packing with shaking hands while she sat frozen on their hotel bed. "I'll announce everything once I'm there. They'll understand, will they?" Her voice was small, terrified. "Rashid, I've read about your country. Tradition. Bloodlines. They'll never accept me." He knelt before her, desperation making him rough. "Then they'll learn too." But the palace had other plans. Rashid's uncle, Sheikh Khalil, met him at the airport with cameras and expectations carved in stone. The kingdom mourns, but it also watches. They need stability, strength, an alliance. They needed him married to someone appropriate, someone with the right blood and the right name. Princess Zara arrives next month to discuss terms. Khalil continued as motorcades rushed them through gleaming streets. "The merger with Kuwait has been your father's dream for decades." Rashid felt the trap closing, metal teeth sinking into his spine. "I need time." Khalil's smile was a blade wrapped in silk. "Time is the one thing you don't have, nephew." Yasmin waited in London, their apartment growing colder as Rashid's calls became shorter, his promises hollower. "Just another week," he'd say, voice cracking under the weight of a crown and cameras. "They're planning the mourning period, then I'll tell them everything." But she could hear it, the doubt creeping in like frost, the calculations clicking behind his words as duty devoured the man she'd married. When he finally said, "Maybe we should keep this quiet just until the situation stabilizes," something inside her went numb. How long is quiet, Rashid? A month? A year? Forever? The silence on the other end told her everything. Princess Zara arrived like a hurricane wrapped in designer silk, all sharp intelligence and sharper ambition. She cornered Rashid after the welcome banquet, champagne in hand and calculation in her dark eyes. "Let's be honest, Your Highness. You don't want this marriage and neither do I. But we both want power." She stepped closer, voice dropping to conspiracy. "I have plans for Kuwait. You have plans for your kingdom. Together, we could remake the entire region." For a dangerous second, Rashid saw the temptation of it, a partnership without love's messy complications, clean and strategic and safe. Then he remembered Yasmin's laugh, and the fantasy crumbled. "I appreciate your honesty, princess, but think about it," Zara interrupted, walking away with a knowing smile. Rashid's cousin Amara had been watching everything from the shadows, her envy festering like an infected wound. She'd expected to marry Rashid once, before he became crown prince, before he started treating her like furniture. Now this nobody translator was stealing what should have been hers? Unacceptable. She hired a private investigator, and when the wedding photos surfaced, Rashid and Yasmin in that tiny chapel, joy blazing in their faces, Amara's hands shook with pure rage. "Stupid, stupid boy," she whispered, mind already spinning betrayal into opportunity. She called Sheikh Khalil and dropped the grenade. "Uncle, we have a problem. Our future king is already married. To a commoner. And he's been lying about it for months." Khalil's fury was the cold, controlled kind that toppled governments. He confronted Rashid in the throne room at midnight, armed guards flanking doors suddenly locked. "Is it true?" His voice could have frozen oceans. Rashid's silence was confession enough. "You selfish, reckless fool. Do you have any idea what you've done? The alliance with Kuwait, the stability we promised, your father's legacy, all of it destroyed because you couldn't keep your pants zipped in London." "I love her," Rashid said, and hated how weak it sounded against the marble and gold, how small love seemed compared to kingdoms. Khalil laughed, bitter and cutting. "Then you're going to have to choose. The crown or the girl. You can't have both." "Annul it," Khalil demanded, shoving divorce papers across the ancient desk where kings had signed treaties and death warrants for centuries. "Quietly. Pay her off. She'll disappear and this nightmare ends." Rashid stared at the documents, each word a knife. "And if I refuse? Then I'll make sure the scandal destroys not just you, but her. Every detail of her life will be exposed, twisted, weaponized. She'll be called a gold digger, a seductress who trapped a grieving prince. The media will eat her alive." Khalil leaned forward, eyes glittering with promise of violence. "Choose wisely, Rashid. A crown prince protects his people, even from his own heart." Rashid signed, ink bleeding like betrayal across paper, telling himself it was temporary, a strategic retreat. He was wrong. He called Yasmin at 3 a.m., and she knew before he spoke. They found out. His voice was hollow, gutted. "Rashid, what did you do?" Her question was a whimper, already grieving. "I bought us time. I signed annulment papers, but it's just for show, just until I can consolidate power and stop." Yasmin's laugh was broken glass and ashes. "Stop lying to me, and stop lying to yourself. You chose. You chose them." "I chose survival," he shot back, anger and anguish tangling. "They were going to destroy you, Yasmin." "I couldn't," she hung up. When he called back, her phone was off. When he sent guards to check on her, the London apartment was empty, cleared out like she'd never existed. Rashid tore London apart looking for her. Every hotel, every friend, every place they'd ever laughed or kissed or planned impossible futures. Nothing. She'd vanished like smoke, and with her went the last piece of him that felt human. He returned to the palace a ghost in expensive suits, going through motions of governance while hemorrhaging inside. The engagement to Zara was announced. The kingdom celebrated. Rashid stood on the balcony and waved at crowds, cameras capturing a smile that never reached his eyes, wondering if this was what winning felt like, hollow and ash-tasting and utterly empty. At night, he still reached for her across cold sheets, forgetting for one brutal second that he'd chosen power over love. For months crawled by. Rashid played the perfect crown prince, strategic, controlled, everything his uncle wanted. But he'd hired every investigator he could afford, chasing whispers of Yasmin across 3 continents. Nothing. Then one night, a blurry photo landed in his encrypted messages. Yasmin, boarding a ferry in Greece, hand pressed to her stomach in a gesture he recognized immediately. His blood turned to ice and then to fire. She was pregnant. She was carrying his child, and she was alone, and he'd driven her there with his cowardice. Find her, he snarled at his security team, no longer caring about scandal or thrones or anything except getting her back. Find her now or you're all fired. But someone else had found her first. Amara, still seething with rejection, had been tracking Yasmin too, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When the pregnancy rumor surfaced, Amara saw her chance to destroy Rashid completely. She sent men to the Greek island where Yasmin was hiding, not to kill her, something more surgical. They snatched her phone, her documents, left her stranded and terrified in a country where she barely spoke the language. "Let's see how your precious prince find you now," Amara whispered to her own reflection, satisfaction sharp as a blade. She had no idea Yasmin was tougher than she looked. Desperation makes people resourceful. And Yasmin was desperate. Yasmin sold her wedding ring, the one piece of Rashid she'd kept, to a jeweler who asked no questions. The money bought her a train ticket to Athens, a burner phone, and one phone call. She didn't call Rashid. Pride and pain wouldn't let her crawl back to a man who'd chosen a crown over their child. Instead, she called the one person from the palace who'd been kind to her during that brief, doomed visit, Rashid's younger sister, Princess Noor. "I need help," Yasmin whispered when Noor answered, voice shaking. "I'm pregnant and people are following me, and I don't know what to do." Noor's gasp was sharp. "Where are you?" "Don't move. I'm coming to get you myself." Noor found Yasmin in an Athens hostel, hollow-eyed and haunted, but still fighting. "Does Rashid know?" Noor asked, gathering Yasmin's few belongings with efficient hands. Yasmin shook her head, tears finally spilling. "He made his choice. I won't trap him with this." "You're an idiot," Noor said, but it was fond, fierce. "He's been losing his mind looking for you. Uncle Khalil is furious because Rashid's distracted and useless and everyone can tell something's wrong." She gripped Yasmin's shoulders, forcing eye contact. "Come home. Let me help you. Let me fix this." But Yasmin's trust was broken glass, too shattered to repair easily. "What if he doesn't want this baby?" "What if he, then I'll raise it," Noor interrupted. "But you need to give him the chance to choose." Noor smuggled Yasmin back into the kingdom through private channels, hiding her in a safe house on the palace grounds that most people had forgotten existed. She was going to orchestrate a reunion, something romantic and perfect. But Amara had spies everywhere, and when she learned Yasmin was back, her rage reached nuclear levels. "She's here?" In MY Palace. Amara's scream shattered crystal as she swept perfume bottles off her vanity. "That's impossible." But it was true, and worse, Noor was protecting her. Amara needed a new plan, something so devastating that even Noor couldn't save the little translator who refused to disappear. She called Zara, and two Vipers formed an alliance that would burn everything down. Zara had her own reasons for wanting Yasmin gone. The engagement to Rashid gave her legitimacy, access, power. If he found his precious commoner wife, all of Zara's carefully constructed plans would collapse. "What do you propose?" Zara asked Amara over encrypted channels, intrigue humming through her voice. "We make her leave voluntarily," Amara purred. "Rashid announced his engagement to you publicly. It's all over international news. If we can convince Yasmin that he's moved on completely, that he's happy with you, she'll run again. And this time, we will make sure she never comes back." Zara considered the cruelty of it and found herself smiling. "I have photographers I use. We can stage something. Make it look undeniably real." They executed the plan with surgical precision. Photographers captured Rashid and Zara in what looked like an intimate moment, him leaning close to whisper something, actually asking when this tedious photo op would end, her hand on his chest, steadying herself in ridiculous heels, both of them laughing at something Khalil had said off camera. The photos were perfect, devastating. Amara made sure they landed on Yasmin's phone with a message. "He's already replaced you. Stop chasing a man who doesn't want you." Yasmin stared at the images, each one a punch to her already battered heart, and felt something inside her finally break clean through. Noor found her packing hours later. "Don't," Noor begged. "Those photos are lies, manipulations. It doesn't matter," Yasmin said, numb. "He chose this life. I won't force him into mine." But Yasmin didn't run. Not yet. Because that night, she collapsed. The stress, the exhaustion, the months of terror and heartbreak finally exacted their price. Noor found her unconscious on the safe house floor and screamed for doctors. Protocol be damned. Within minutes, medical staff swarmed, and within an hour, the secret was out. Rashid was in a budget meeting when his phone exploded with messages from Noor. "Get to the medical wing now. It's Yasmin. She's here and she's pregnant and something's wrong." The meeting scattered as Rashid bolted, decorum abandoned, his world narrowing to a single desperate prayer. "Please don't let me be too late. Please." Rashid hit the medical wing like a hurricane, shoving past guards and doctors until he found her, Yasmin, unconscious in white sheets, monitors beeping steadily, her hand cradled protectively over her stomach even in sleep. "Is she?" His voice broke, couldn't finish the question, terror stripping him of language. "She's stable," the doctor said quietly. "Dehydration, exhaustion, severe stress. She needs rest and peace, Your Highness. Whatever she's been through, it nearly killed her." Rashid sank into the chair beside her bed, reaching for her hand with shaking fingers. "I'm sorry," he whispered, knowing she couldn't hear, but saying it anyway. "I'm so sorry. I should have fought harder. I should have chosen better. But I'm here now and I swear I'm not leaving. Not ever again." Yasmin woke to late afternoon light and Rashid's head pillowed on her hospital bed, his hand wrapped around hers like a lifeline. She should pull away. She should armor herself against more inevitable heartbreak. Instead, she found her free hand reaching for his hair, fingers threading through the dark strands she'd once known by heart. He jerked awake immediately, eyes wild until they found her face. "You're here," she whispered, accusation and wonder tangled together. "Of course I'm here," he said, voice wrecked. "Yasmin, you signed annulment papers." The words were small, but they landed like grenades. Rashid flinched, each syllable a deserved wound. "The biggest mistake of my life. I told myself it was strategic, temporary, but I was just a coward." "I'm pregnant," Yasmin said, because he deserved to know, even if knowing changed nothing. Rashid's breath caught, eyes dropping to where the sheets draped over her stomach. "I know. Noor told me." "Yasmin," he slid from the chair to his knees beside the bed, royal dignity abandoned entirely. "I know I don't deserve a second chance. I know I failed you in every possible way. But that's my child. Our child. And I love you. I've loved you since you told me to stop manipulating translation and say what I meant. So here's what I mean. I choose you. The crown, the kingdom, the alliances, if it comes down to choosing, I choose you. Every single time." "Liar," Yasmin whispered, but her hand tightened on his. "I saw the photos. You and Zara, looking so perfect together, staged." Rashid interrupted urgently. "Manipulated." "Yasmin, I can barely stand being in the same room as her. Every official engagement is torture because all I can think about is how she's not you." He pressed his forehead to her knuckles, desperate. "Someone's been trying to keep us apart. The timing of those photos, you being tracked in Greece, it's too coordinated to be coincidence." Yasmin's mind raced, puzzle pieces clicking into focus. "Your cousin, Amara. She kept staring at me during that palace dinner, like she wanted me dead." Rashid's expression went cold, dangerous. "Then it's time I dealt with my family." But before Rashid could hunt down his cousin, Khalil made his move. The sheik had been monitoring the medical wing, and when he learned about Yasmin's pregnancy, his calculations shifted. A grandchild, legitimate or not, was leverage, a weakness he could exploit. He appeared in the doorway with armed guards, his smile poisonous. "How touching." The prodigal wife returns, conveniently pregnant. Rashid stood, placing himself between Khalil and Yasmin's bed. "Get out." "I don't think so," Khalil purred. "That child is royal blood." which means it belongs to the kingdom, not to this commoner. We can arrange a private adoption, generous compensation for Miss Yasmin, and everyone walks away intact. Over my dead body, Rashid snarled, murder in his eyes. That can be arranged, Khalil said, and his guards moved forward. The fight was brief and brutal. Rashid had military training, but Khalil had numbers and ruthlessness. They drugged Rashid with something fast-acting, his last conscious sight Yasmin screaming his name as they dragged him away. Khalil turned to Yasmin with clinical coldness. Here's how this works. You'll sign papers terminating your parental rights. We'll care for the child in royal style, and you'll receive enough money to disappear permanently. If you refuse, I'll have you declared mentally unfit and take the baby anyway. But I'm feeling generous today, so I'm giving you a choice. Yasmin's terror crystallized into something harder, fiercer. You can't take my baby. Khalil smiled. Watch me. What Khalil didn't know was that Noor had witnessed everything. The youngest princess had been trained all her life to be decorative and silent, but her spine was pure steel when it mattered. She called in every favor she'd ever earned, contacting tribal leaders loyal to her late father, military commanders who remembered honor before politics, and media contacts who'd love the scandal. Uncle Khalil is staging a coup, she told them, voice steady despite her shaking hands. He's imprisoned Crown Prince Rashid and is attempting to kidnap a pregnant woman. If you ever loved my father, if you value the true royal bloodline, come now. Within 2 hours, the palace was surrounded by loyalists and Khalil's power began to crack. Zara watched the chaos unfold and made a calculated decision: save herself. She found Noor coordinating the resistance from a communications room, looking far more like a general than anyone expected. I have information you need, Zara announced. Amara's messages pulled up on her phone. Your cousin has been orchestrating everything, tracking Yasmin, staging photos, feeding intelligence to your uncle. She wanted Rashid for herself, and when that failed, she decided to destroy him entirely. Noor's eyes went cold as winter. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm many things, but I'm not stupid, Zara said. Khalil's regime is collapsing. I'd rather be on the winning side. Plus, honestly, your brother's devotion is nauseating, but it's real. He'd be miserable with me. They found Rashid locked in the old dungeon levels, irony not lost on anyone that medieval architecture still had modern applications. He was groggy but conscious, and when Noor unlocked his cell, he grabbed her shoulders. Yasmin, where is she? Safe. Protected. Now come on, we have a palace to reclaim. The loyalist forces had cornered Khalil in the throne room, his few remaining guards outnumbered 3 to 1. When Rashid walked in, disheveled but unbroken, the power shift was visible. You're done, Rashid said quietly, authority ringing through every word. You conspired against the crown, imprisoned the crown prince, threatened a pregnant woman. The council will decide your fate, but your influence ends now. Khalil's face twisted with rage and desperation. You'll destroy this kingdom for a commoner. No, Rashid corrected. I'll rebuild it into something worth ruling. Amara tried to run. She made it to the private airstrip before Noor's people intercepted her, guards politely but firmly escorting her back. When Rashid confronted her in her own suite, her defiance crumbled into something pathetic. I loved you first, she whispered, tears streaming. Before the crown, before her, I loved you, and you looked right through me. Love doesn't entitle you to destruction, Rashid said, and there was almost pity in his voice. What you did to Yasmin, to our child, that wasn't love. That was possession. You're going to live in exile. Consider yourself lucky that I'm feeling merciful. Amara laughed, bitter and broken. Merciful? You're sending me away from everything I've ever known. Yes, Rashid agreed. The same thing you tried to do to Yasmin. How does it feel? Rashid found Yasmin still in the medical wing, Noor standing guard like an avenging angel. The moment she saw him, Yasmin's composure shattered, months of fear and loneliness crashing down all at once. He caught her as she sagged, holding her like she was his entire world, which she was. It's over, he murmured into her hair while she cried against his chest. Khalil's arrested, Amara's exiled. You're safe now. Both of you are safe. I was so scared, she sobbed, clutching his shirt. I thought they'd take the baby. Thought I'd lose everything. Never, Rashid swore, fierce and absolute. I will burn this palace to the ground before I let anyone take you from me again. That night, Rashid did something unprecedented. He called a press conference, every major network carrying the broadcast live, and told the entire truth. I've lied to you, he began, staring directly into cameras broadcasting to millions. Months ago, I married a woman I love. She's brilliant and brave, and nothing like what tradition says I should want. When I was forced to choose between her and the crown, I made the wrong choice. I chose power. I chose appearances. And I nearly lost everything that matters. The press pool erupted in questions, but Rashid raised his hand for silence. Yasmin is my wife. She's carrying my child. And she will be my queen, or I will abdicate. The choice is the kingdom's. The kingdom fractured along predictable lines, traditionalists horrified, progressives thrilled, everyone else utterly confused. But something interesting happened in the following days. People started coming forward. Common citizens who'd met Yasmin during her brief palace stay, remembering her kindness. Tribal leaders who valued strength over pedigree, seeing courage in her survival. Young people who wanted their kingdom to evolve beyond ancient prejudices. Support felt like a wave, messy and organic and real. They're arguing about me on television, Yasmin said, watching pundits debate her worthiness with surreal detachment. Rashid wrapped his arms around her from behind, chin resting on her shoulder. Let them argue. I already know your worth. Soon they will too. The council met in an emergency session, centuries of tradition colliding with modern reality. Some demanded Rashid's abdication. Others suggested compromise. Yasmin could be his wife, but not his queen. It was Noor who cut through the debate with unexpected ferocity. My father loved tradition, she said, standing to address the gathered officials. But he loved this kingdom more. He would have asked one question: will this choice make us stronger or weaker? She gestured toward video footage of Yasmin during the crisis, protecting her stomach even while being threatened. This woman survived assassination attempts, exile, and psychological warfare. She's already proven herself more durable than half the royals born to purple. You want strength? There's your queen. The vote wasn't unanimous, but it passed. Yasmin would be recognized as crown princess with full rights and titles. The wedding would be repeated publicly, traditional and binding. And their child would be a legitimate heir. When Rashid told her, Yasmin's first response wasn't joy, it was terror. I don't know how to be a queen. I can barely manage royal dinners without using the wrong fork. Rashid laughed, pulling her close. You toppled a conspiracy, survived exile while pregnant, and won over a kingdom that didn't want you. Trust me, you'll figure out the fork thing. She buried her face in his neck, breathing him in. Promise you won't regret this. Promise when it's hard and people are awful, you won't wish you'd chosen someone easier. I won't, Rashid said, tilting her face up so she could see the truth blazing in his eyes. Because I already made the wrong choice once. I chose easy over right, tradition over love. And it nearly destroyed me. His hands framed her face, thumbs tracing her cheekbones. You are the bravest person I've ever met. The kindest, fiercest, most stubborn woman in existence. Our child is going to have your fire and hopefully my height, and together we're going to drag this kingdom into the future whether it likes it or not. Yasmin's laugh was watery but real. When you put it that way, how can I refuse? You can't, he agreed, grinning. I'm very persuasive. You married me twice, remember? The second wedding was nothing like the first. This time, thousands filled the palace square, cameras broadcasting to millions worldwide. Yasmin wore traditional silk stitched with her grandmother's needlework, something borrowed, something old, something entirely her own. When Rashid lifted her veil, his hands shook slightly, overcome by the magnitude of having her here, alive, his. I love you, he whispered, too quiet for microphones, but loud enough for her. I know, she whispered back, echoing their first wedding, that tiny chapel in Scotland that felt like a lifetime ago. When they kissed, the crowd erupted, and Yasmin thought maybe, just maybe, they'd survived the worst. She should have known better. Happy endings are never quite that simple. Because Khalil had one last card to play. From his prison cell, he'd been communicating with extremist factions who'd opposed Rashid's reforms, feeding them ammunition and fury. 2 weeks after the wedding, during Yasmin's first official public appearance, shots rang out. Rashid tackled her to the marble floor, his body covering hers while guards returned fire. The shooter was neutralized quickly, but the message was clear. Tradition had teeth, and they were hungry. Yasmin lay beneath Rashid's protective weight, ears ringing, feeling his heart hammer against her spine. "Are you hurt?" he demanded, hands frantically checking her for wounds. "The baby, we're okay," she gasped. "Rashid, we're okay." But they weren't. Not really. The threat was far from over. The assassination attempt changed everything. Rashid wanted to lock Yasmin in the most secure part of the palace, wrap her in bulletproof glass, and never let her near a window. "Absolutely not," she said, steel in her voice he was learning to recognize. "If I hide, they win. If I show fear, they'll know how to break us." "They almost killed you," Rashid snarled, still riding the adrenaline of nearly losing her. "They almost killed our child." "I don't care about optics or politics. I care about you being alive." She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. "Then help me be alive in a way that matters. Teach me security protocols. Train me. But don't cage me. I didn't survive all this just to become a prisoner in my own life." So Rashid taught her. Hand-to-hand combat in the private gym at dawn, weapons training with his most trusted guards, tactical thinking during long strategy sessions. Yasmin absorbed it all with terrifying focus, channeling her fear into something sharper, more useful. "You're a natural," his security chief admitted after she executed a perfect disarming technique. "Most nobles faint at the sight of guns. You're loading magazines like you've done it your whole life." "Fear makes you practical," Yasmin said, checking the sight line with professional efficiency. "And I've been afraid for months. Might as well make it productive." Rashid watched from the doorway, pride and worry tangled in his chest. She was magnificent. She was also 6 months pregnant and learning to clear rooms. His heart couldn't decide whether to soar or stop. Khalil's trial became a national spectacle, every revelation more damning than the last. The conspiracy ran deeper than anyone expected: bribes, blackmail, even connections to foreign governments wanting to destabilize the kingdom. But Khalil was unrepentant, delivering a final speech from the defendant's stand that made headlines worldwide. "You think you've won," he told Rashid, eyes blazing with fanatical certainty. "But tradition is a hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more appear. That commoner carrying your bastard will never be accepted. Your children will be questioned forever. I may fall, but my legacy will poison everything you touch." The courtroom erupted. Rashid started forward, murder in his eyes, but Yasmin's hand on his arm stopped him. "He's already lost," she said quietly. "Don't give him the satisfaction." Khalil was sentenced to life imprisonment, stripped of titles, lands, and name. The extremist factions he'd inspired fractured without his leadership, and slowly, tentatively, the kingdom began to heal. But Yasmin's pregnancy became complicated. Preeclampsia, the doctor said, requiring bed rest and constant monitoring. "Of course," she muttered, restricted to her suite while the kingdom expected her to be out proving herself. "I finally got good at shooting things and now I'm trapped in bed." Rashid barely left her side, conducting meetings from her room, sleeping in the chair beside her when she dozed. "You're going to give yourself a permanent back injury," she scolded. "Don't care," he replied, stubborn as she'd ever seen him. "Not leaving." The baby decided to arrive early, because of course she did. Yasmin's daughter, fierce and furious and perfect, came into the world screaming, like she was already arguing with tradition. Rashid held his child with shaking hands, this tiny creature who'd survived assassination plots and political coups before even being born, and felt something fundamental shift in his chest. "She has your stubbornness," he whispered to Yasmin, who was exhausted but radiant. "Look at that glare. That's pure you." She has your dramatic timing, Yasmin countered, reaching for her daughter. Couldn't wait 2 more weeks like a normal baby. She had to make an entrance. When the infant wrapped tiny fingers around Rashid's thumb, the crown prince of a nation that had seen centuries of conquest and glory quietly fell apart, tears streaming down his face. We're naming her Amira, Yasmin said softly. It means princess, but also leader. She's going to need to be both. But someone wasn't finished with them yet. Zara had returned to Kuwait after the wedding, apparently reconciled to a role as footnote in someone else's love story. Except she'd been planning, quietly building alliances with Khalil's old supporters, the ones who'd scattered but not surrendered. She didn't want Rashid anymore. Her ambition had moved beyond marriage into something colder. She wanted destabilization, chaos that would let her position Kuwait as the dominant regional power. The baby makes them vulnerable, she told her co-conspirators over encrypted channels. New parents are distracted, emotional. That's when we strike. The plan was elegant and vicious. Kidnap the infant princess, blame it on remaining extremists, watch the kingdom tear itself apart looking for her. They made their move during Amira's naming ceremony, when the palace was flooded with guests and security was stretched thin managing crowds. A wet nurse, carefully planted weeks earlier, simply walked out with the princess during a diaper change, vanishing into the chaos of celebration. By the time anyone noticed, she was gone. Yasmin's scream when she discovered the empty bassinet could have shattered stone. Rashid went utterly cold, the kind of dangerous calm that preceded violence. Lock down the palace, he ordered, voice like winter. No one leaves. No one. And find my daughter. Noor appeared at his elbow, already coordinating with security. Rashid, the wet nurse, she wasn't in the original staff roster. Someone added her last minute. His eyes went dead. Find out who. Now. The trail led back to Zara within hours. Careless arrogance had made her sloppy. Encrypted messages weren't encrypted enough. The wet nurse broke under interrogation, and suddenly an international incident was looming. She took her to Kuwait, Noor reported, pulling up satellite data. A private jet landed in Kuwait City 40 minutes ago. Rashid, if we go heavy-handed, it's an act of war. Rashid was already strapping on body armor, protocol abandoned entirely. Then it's war. I want our tactical team ready in 10 minutes. I'm coming with you, Yasmin said from the doorway, pale but determined, already dressed in combat gear they'd trained her in. Yasmin, you just gave birth 3 days ago. That's my daughter, she interrupted, voice shaking but firm. I'm coming. Try to stop me. He didn't try. Instead, he made sure she had the best protection, the best equipment, keeping her close as they boarded military helicopters under cover of darkness. The flight to Kuwait was tense and silent, every parent's nightmare playing out at 30,000 feet. What if we're too late? Yasmin whispered, the first crack in her armor. Rashid took her hand, squeezing hard enough to hurt. We won't be. Zara wants leverage, which means Amira's valuable alive. We'll get her back. And then? Yasmin asked. Then, Rashid said, something ancient and ruthless surfacing in his eyes. I'm going to make sure Zara regrets the day she was born. The helicopter descended toward Zara's private compound, and the war for a princess began. The extraction was surgical and brutal. Rashid's team had trained for scenarios exactly like this: hostage rescue in hostile territory, minimal casualties, maximum efficiency. They breached Zara's compound from 3 directions simultaneously, overwhelming her private security before alarms could even fully sound. Yasmin stayed with the second wave, every instinct screaming to rush forward, but training holding her in position. Then she heard it, Amira's cry, furious and alive, echoing from a second-floor nursery. There, she gasped, and nothing could have stopped her then. She took the stairs at a run, guards flanking her, bursting into a lavish room where Zara stood holding Amira like a shield, desperation replacing her usual calculation. Don't come closer, Zara warned, but her voice shook. You'll what? Yasmin asked, and her voice was so cold it could have frozen blood. Hurt a baby? Prove you're exactly the monster we always suspected. She stepped forward slowly, hands raised, but eyes locked on her daughter. You wanted power, Zara. You wanted to matter. But this? Stealing a child? This doesn't make you powerful. It makes you pathetic. Zara's face twisted, and for a second, Yasmin saw genuine anguish beneath the ambition. You don't understand. In my world, in my family, if you're not ruthless, you're nothing. I had to, you had choices, Yasmin interrupted. You chose wrong. Now give me my daughter before I stop being reasonable. Behind Zara, Rashid appeared in the window, having scaled the exterior wall. Their eyes met. Yasmin nodded once. Rashid crashed through the window in an explosion of glass and fury, and in Zara's moment of shock, Yasmin lunged. She'd spent months learning to fight, and now muscle memory took over. Grab, twist, pull Amira free while Rashid tackled Zara to the ground. The princess wailed, startled but unharmed, and Yasmin clutched her daughter to her chest with shaking hands. I've got you, she whispered, tears streaming. I've got you, baby girl. You're safe now. Rashid secured Zara with brutal efficiency, then turned to his wife and daughter, and the relief that washed over his face was almost painful to witness. We need to move, he said roughly. Kuwaiti authorities will be here soon. This is still their sovereign territory. They extracted under covering fire, an international incident blazing to life behind them. The diplomatic fallout was catastrophic and messy. Kuwait demanded Zara's return. Rashid's kingdom demanded justice. The UN got involved. The media worldwide ran the story 24/7, Crown Princess kidnapped, dramatic rescue, international crisis. But in their private quarters, Rashid and Yasmin ignored all of it, focused entirely on the tiny human sleeping between them. We can't keep living like this, Yasmin said quietly, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall with each precious breath. Always waiting for the next attack, the next conspiracy. I know, Rashid admitted, exhaustion and determination warring in his voice. So we end it. Permanently. No more half measures, no more mercy for people who threaten our family. We will rebuild this kingdom from the foundation up. Layla looked at him, seeing not the prince she'd married, but the king he was becoming. What did you have in mind? Rashid spent the next month systematically dismantling the old guard. Anyone connected to Khalil's conspiracy, anyone who'd supported the extremists, anyone who'd shown even passive complicity, gone. Exiled, stripped of power, replaced with younger officials who valued merit over bloodline. It was ruthless, and it was necessary, and it terrified the traditionalists who'd ruled unchallenged for generations. You're creating enemies, his remaining advisors warned. I'm creating accountability, Rashid corrected. The old way nearly got my wife and daughter killed. I'm done protecting people who hide behind tradition while planning treason. He established new protocols, transparent government, elected councils with real power, education reforms that reached beyond the capital's wealthy districts. If this kingdom can evolve, he told Parliament during a televised address, it deserves to collapse. Yasmin became the face of that evolution. She established programs for women's education, microloans for small businesses, healthcare initiatives in rural areas ignored for decades. The traditionalists called her radical. The progressives called her revolutionary. She called herself tired but determined. I didn't ask for this life, she told an interviewer during her first major profile, Amira sleeping in a carrier against her chest. But since I'm here, since I somehow survived long enough to matter, I'm going to use that. Every girl who's been told she's not enough because of her birth or her gender or her bank account, I want them to look at me and know it's possible. The interview went viral, and suddenly Yasmin wasn't just Rashid's controversial wife. She was a symbol, whether she wanted to be or not. Zara's trial happened in international court, jurisdiction disputed, but evidence overwhelming. She stood accused of kidnapping, conspiracy, and attempted destabilization of a sovereign nation. The woman who'd once schemed for kingdoms looked small in the defendant's box, ambition curdled into bitterness. I wanted to matter, she said during her testimony, the only moment of genuine emotion in weeks of legal drama. In my family, women are decorative or they're nothing. I saw a chance to be something more and I took it. I'm sorry a child was used, but I'm not sorry I tried. She was sentenced to 20 years, and as they led her away, she caught Yasmin's eyes across the courtroom. No words passed between them, but something like understanding flickered, two women who'd fought different battles against the same system. Years passed. Amira grew into a whirlwind of curiosity and stubbornness, asking impossible questions and accepting no easy answers. Why do I have to learn 3 languages? She demanded at age 5, already exhausted by royal tutoring. Because the world is bigger than one kingdom, Yasmin answered, braiding her daughter's hair. And if you want to change it, you need to understand it first. Did you speak 3 languages when you were my age? No, I barely spoke one properly. But I learned. That's the secret, Habibti. You don't have to start perfectly, you just have to start. Rashid watched them from the doorway, his wife and daughter tangled together in afternoon sunlight, and marveled at how close he'd come to losing this. One different choice, one moment of lesser courage, and none of this would exist. Did this story touch your heart? Like and subscribe for more. Drop a word in the comments if you believe love conquers all. Next story coming soon.